To Gaza now, where health officials say more than a dozen people have been killed on Saturday as Israel presses ahead with its latest offensive in Gaza City. International pressure has been mounting on Israel over its military operation, with Portugal becoming the latest country to announce it will recognize Palestinian statehood. The United Nations is due to convene a special session on a two-state solution on the sidelines of next week's General Assembly. Secretary General Antonio Guterres says the gathering is a chance to mobilize the international community.
This footage from Israel's military is said to show soldiers operating in Gaza City, which was home to 1 million people before the war began. Israel says Hamas has its last stronghold in the city, and its goal is to take control of the area. But the offensive has drawn widespread condemnation from world leaders. Many Gazans have been forced to flee the city. They now face squalid conditions in overcrowded areas, gripped by hunger and even famine.
We are extremely burned out and tired of displacement. 4 whole days on the road. We went all over Gaza and the places must be rented out. We don't have money to rent or money to eat. We go to a new place every day. We came from West and have been stopping along the way. Hunger is killing us. We have nothing. We are barefoot. Just the water jugs and the bag. This is it.
Far from the Gaza Strip, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres says he hopes that recognition of Palestinian statehood will be a step towards peace.
The carnage that is happening in Gaza has to end, that we need a ceasefire immediately, with the release of all hostages immediately too, and with effective humanitarian aid in Gaza that is suffering the highest level of death and destruction that I've seen since I'm Secretary General.
While international diplomacy grinds on at a slow pace, the people trapped in Gaza continue to endure a brutal struggle for survival.
For more on the situation in Gaza, I'm now joined by Amjad Shawa. He is the head of the Palestinian NGO Network, and he joins us from Deir al-Balah in the Gaza Strip, just south of Gaza City. Now, can you describe the situation right now in Gaza City for us?
Thank you. It's inhuman conditions, very critically deteriorated. It's under attack from the Israelis, the Israeli airstrikes using also the remote explosive robots to explode neighborhoods. And still there is about 800,000 people who are still stuck in Gaza City, where total neighborhoods were leveled and destroyed, and so many families under the rubble after the airstrikes on their buildings. And people still continue to flee, scared from such attacks, to unsafe and inhumanitarian conditions in the south of Gaza Strip. There is no shelter materials, and there is no water. There is no also supplies in order to cover all these needs. People are in very limited distance in areas in the south of the area. There is no space to put a tent. There is no also supplies to give these people who are left with nothing. Still now there is restrictions on the entry of the basic needs, mainly the tents and other needs. And in the same time, there is shortage of water, whether in the Gaza City or in the south. All are suffering under such a starvation and famine that people are suffering from.
Now, Israel's army has warned that it will use unprecedented force to take Gaza City. How does that materialize?
Already they are using it, and I don't know how to be interpreted to the situation in Gaza. Still, people are in very critical moments that we are passing through. Non-stop airstrikes. We are talking about now almost 23 months of the Israeli attacks on the Palestinian civilians, these desperate Palestinians who has nowhere to go and no capacity and no income. It's in need for about $3,000 to $5,000 in order to move from the Gaza City to the south. And already there is tens of thousands of families. They have elders, people with disability, orphans, widows, who cannot move, and they haven't anything in order to move towards. And already there is hundreds of patients, injured people who are in these hospitals, still working there in very critical conditions that we cannot move them out because we have small hospitals here, which is overwhelmed and crowded in Deir al-Balah and Khan Yunis. So we are calling now in order real pressure to stop this offensive, this military operation that run in Gaza to protect the Palestinian civilians. This is the real time for the international community to act. Otherwise, children, women, these elders will be killed. As every day we have tens of people who are killed.
Amjad Shawa, the head of the Palestinian NGO Network in Gaza, thank you very much.
Jacob Granger is the emergency coordinator with Doctors Without Borders in Gaza and joins me now from Deir al-Balah in central Gaza. Hello, thanks for joining us. Can you describe the situation right now in Gaza City for you, your colleagues, and the patients still there?
Good morning. So the situation in Gaza City today is the same for everyone staying over there. There's an advanced military operation going on the city with the situation being very bad over there, meaning that access to food, access to healthcare, access to water is compromised. It was already dire before. Now the population of Gaza City, the non-choice between staying in Gaza City, where they have a shelter, or going south of Gaza City following this evacuation order, cancelled order by Israeli forces, and to have no place and no certitude that they will be able to be in good living conditions in the south of Gaza Strip. So to be really descriptive, it's a huge city that is totally or partially destroyed. You can see buildings with holes in it. You can see buildings just flattened down to the ground. You will have sound of quadcopters, the sound of the bombings, of the strikes everywhere, and no certitude that you are not being one of the victims, collateral damage or not, of the strike. So what we see regarding healthcare is that there are less and less facilities open. Most are closing because of the security issues. There's less and less humanitarian actors because they have to flee because of security issues. And we have more and more complex cases coming to health facilities.
Right, sounds like a very dire situation you're describing there. Now, the IDF says that only hospitals are protected sites in northern Gaza for aid workers like you. Do you feel protected?
Absolutely not. So what the Israeli forces declared is that only the hospitals would be deconflicted. Now, if we take the 5 last days, there have been strikes on or really nearby health facilities, including hospitals. That would be Shifa Hospital, the biggest one. That would be Ramtesi Hospital, a pediatric hospital with 80 beds. The top floor has been disrupted several times and targeted by Israeli forces drones. And there's countless examples. On MSF premises, within this last week, we had several strikes less than 100 meters away from our clinics. One was 40 meters away from the clinic, another one was 80 meters away from the clinic, and finally also the water distribution that we are doing. We had clearly identified Doctors Without Borders trucks delivering water in the north part of Gaza City that has been struck by Israeli forces, and we lost all the water. It was clearly identified. So no, there's no protection for humanitarian workers and for health workers in the Gaza Strip. And this is something we need. We need to deliver to the population, and we need to have a guarantee from Israeli forces to be able to continue to operate over there.
Right, got it. Jacob Granger, emergency coordinator with Doctors Without Borders in Gaza. Thank you.
Thank you so much.